All right, guys. It's Homer from Basement Figs, Elgin, Illinois, Zone 6A now. Gonna do my pruning video. I got a lot of my trees done. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the hobby, is pruning, training my trees. So I figured I'd take you guys along, and you guys can hopefully learn something. There's a lot of videos out there. Telling you all the theories behind pruning. I'm just going to go start working and kind of babble, and hopefully you learn something. Okay, so we'll start with this single trunk Basilica Sica. Okay, this is a second-year tree. This is something I want to teach you guys. When you get a plant like this, winterize, and it survives the winter, what you're hoping for is one of these lower shoots, or a shoot to stick out and start growing, being the dominant. You're gonna cut it, you're gonna put it in a big ass pot, and then hopefully by the end of that season you'll have something like this. Okay, so pretty easy. Got my clippers. Gonna measure 30 inches. Okay, so here's the kind of the first thing I want to tell you guys about. If your target line is 30, expect some dieback. So I cut above that one. So I'm actually cutting in about 31. Just take my zip tie out here. And cut at an angle. Just like that. Okay. Pretty easy. And I'll give you guys a close-up here. Guys, I'm not going to edit, so it's just going to be a bunch of craziness going on. Okay, so we have the Basilica Sica. It's tagged. And then you can see a bud here, a bud there, bud there. So, and then I just cut it. Not the cleanest cut, but I will clean that up. You see this bud here. But that is how you trim a single. And then you can see, and back up a little bit, you can see how it's not straight. When I repot it next year, I'll make it straight. Okay. What people are always asking me, why my plants look good or my shapes look good. Again, the problem is a lot of people will get a first year plant or a cutting like this. Even something like this. And they think they have to be committed to leaving these. This is a Del Monte, right? I ain't stressing about this the first year. What I'm trying to do is, so a friend gave me this. Thank you, MJ Figs. What you want to do is have a node come out from the bottom and start growing. Once you get about 3 leaves in, I'm just going to chop the rest off. Take this pot, put it in a big pot, and then you end up with this. So many people are in such a rush to taste the fruit, but the form is so important. First of all, it looks good, and it really helps in making sure that you have a healthy plant and get it ready for fruiting. So don't rush, guys. I made the same mistake my first year, and that's why I kind of don't like pinching. Okay, so this is done. So say you have something like this. This is one of my 5 LDAs. I don't know why I have so many, but I'll spin it around. It's pretty great shape. I pinched it the first year over here. And this is why, again, I don't like pinching, because you'll get two scaffolds, and one is generally weaker than the other. So this one didn't make it, so I cut it, and then the rest of this grew out this season. So this is a 2nd year LDA, and this tree is pretty easy to prune. So let me go through the mentality of how I prune it. I always start from the top to the bottom. The first thing I always do too is I always kind of look back and look at the plant and the shape of it and try to determine what I want it to look like. So I got always a tape measure. I'm going to check some measurements here. So this is 18, which I'm okay with. This one's 18, so that matches. We're going to leave this. Hopefully this tip will grow out. Going to check this, and we'll cut this. This one's pretty long, so just figure out where my 18 mark is. So it's right here. Sorry, guys. So it's right here. Always at an angle down. Pretty easy. I'm going to check this one. So we want around 18. So here's again. Here's the 18 mark. This node right here. I am not going to cut it at this node. Again, I'm going to go up a node above it, because we're going to get dieback. And that's it. LDA cut. Pretty easy, right? Okay, let's go on to more complicated ones. So here we have a San Miguel Roxo, Azuro's Dark. Again, number one thing I do is I kind of study the tree, see the shape. So single, it was this is its 2nd year, grew out, pinched it. Again, this branch died off. These 2 popped up. I trained it to kind of do this, the open goblet. I had this side branch growing out, and then I was kind of hoping more branches would have came out. That would have been cool. But I think after studying this tree, and as much as I'm not a fan of this goblet look, I think we're gonna make it a goblet. Let me just actually back up and look at it some more. I mean, I can go either way. I could leave it or I can cut it. Goblet's pretty easy, right? I think that would look fine. But what's really cool is if I don't cut it now, if I don't cut this one now, I can always make that decision next year to cut it. So let's leave it and prune around that idea, okay? All right, so first things first, we're gonna leave it. We made that decision. I thought I was gonna cut it, but we're gonna leave it. I'm gonna just clean this up here. Get rid of that. I'll put some mending paste on it. Just cleaning it up. Okay, so I start from the top and I find, so this is the tallest branch. What we're gonna do is, what I really want the branch to be is 12. 12 inches is my standard thought process, right? So the sun's coming up, so I apologize if this is gonna ruin the video, but 12 is where we generally want it. And then again, I leave it, I give it a couple nodes just for dieback, cut at an angle down. Nice good cutting there. Same thing on the next branch up. I try to keep them even. So 12 inches, I'm gonna cut above that. Okay. $12 out. Again, so I'm actually cutting around the 14th mark, 14-inch mark, just because I'm planning for that little bit of dieback on the tip. Okay. I'm gonna take a look at it. Step back. Okay. As you can see, it's kind of growing crooked, which we're okay with, because this trunk is not centered to the pot. So we're gonna next season center it, and then we're gonna turn it like that. Okay, so let's address this big trunk or big branch in the back here. So take our tape measure, measure out 12. So I kind of take a look at where the 12 mark is, and then I am actually going to cut it up a little bit higher. So we're going to cut it at the 14 inch. I think that's 14 inch. Actually, that's 18. Yeah. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting right below a node, giving myself a lot of room for dieback. Again, angle down. And then let me keep these cuttings together. So there we go. We have the Zoro's Dark, aka San Miguel Roxo. We're gonna also tag it up. I got these cool tags. So I use zip ties. I love zip ties. They're so cheap. It sucks they're plastic, I get it. But they are so cheap. And sorry if my nose is running, but it is cold out here. Okay, I take a small zip tie with my tag, a bigger zip tie, and I zip tie it onto the trunk. And I'll bring you guys in for a close-up here, so you can see how these tags are. I got these tags from a guy named Ulysses. You can find him on Figbid. He probably makes the best tags. I don't remember his last name, so I apologize. But Let me bring you guys in and see the tags. So I got them color coded. Let me see if I can focus in. Got them color coded. And then all I do is I zip tie it on here. The zip tie is still loose enough so that if the tree grows, I can always catch it, cut it off, zip tie it again. But I color coded mine. I have green, red, and I don't have a black one out here, but I color coded them based off ripeness, ripe times, or hang times. So let me fix that a little bit there. Okay, that sun sucks, but sorry about that. The sun sucks, but I gotta get this video done. Okay, so there it is. Pretty cool. Again, if I don't like how this is growing, I can always cut it. But the theory behind what's going to happen here is you have these nodes, and you're going to have more branches coming out, and then we're always constantly shaping our tree. So we'll put this one away. All right. This is my Violet de Bordeaux. Again, I pinched this one. I'm not going to do that ever again. But you can see it's not a bad form. But what I'm seeing here is I don't like this really tall whip up here. So the goal is we're going to bend this down. And I'm going to teach you guys how to do that, okay? So first things first, we're going to go ahead and take these stakes out. Yeah, that sun's gonna ruin this video, but I gotta get this done. Okay. You guys see that? Let me check. Okay. Maybe I'll edit out some of my coughing. All right, so here's the problem that you're seeing with this VDB. We got all the growth coming on my side, no branches going out that side. That's hopefully something we will address at the start of next season, and we'll maybe notch it, and we'll explain that another time. But notching is pretty much to encourage another node to pop out or another branch, but we'll see what it does. But the real thing is what we're going to try to do is address this top branch, and we're going to try to bend it back, okay? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to tie it down, but what I want to do is I want to figure out the angle that I'm going to put it at, which is like that. So that means if we're going to bend the branch this way, we have to support this branch that way. So that's what we'll do. Okay. So the first thing I do is I take some garden tape, and I'm just going to wrap an area on the trunk. Just going to multiple wrap it. And then what we're trying to do with this wrap is we're trying to give the wire, we're going to wire it, some cushion. So you'll see. Let me do this better. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to tie it And you guys will see in a second what I'm talking about and why I'm doing this. Okay. I'll cut it. Okay. The reason I wrapped again is I'm going to take some wire. I'm going to wrap around this tree, but I wanted to protect the trunk a little bit. So what we'll do is take this wire and I'm going to wrap it about 4 times around the branch. This is just floral wrap. It's 1.02 millimeter gauge or 0.04 inches. Just going to wrap it, then I'm going to twist it. This is going to be our anchor support wire because we're going to bend the branch. I'll give you guys a close-up of this in a second. So I wrapped it 3 or 4 times around the trunk. And then you can see here, I'm going to bend it. So this, I'm going to test it again. I'm going to bend the branch right in front of me. Okay. So I bring this down. Get the smallest drill bit you can find. Okay. I'm going to cut a pretty healthy amount. I'm going to feed it to the hole. Again, I'll give you guys close-ups in a second. And I'm just pulling. Okay. And I pull as hard as I can. And I just wrap. It's like a really, like a guitar pick, or guitar wire, or guitar string. Okay. I just feed it through, tie it up, and cut off the excess. So let me give you guys a close-up. Okay, the first thing I did was I wrapped the trunk with some garden tape. Sorry about that. Some garden tape, wire, twisted it around, made a hole, fed the wire, and now we have a super supported branch. What the goal is, I need to bend this branch this way, but now we have something to help hold the branch, the main branch or main trunk, from bending or snapping. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around. The wire hole is directly in front of me. I want this branch to bend down this way. So I will pre-make my hole right now. Okay. And garden tape. This branch right here, I gotta figure out where the bending point is. How much, where I can bend it the most, but yet get the most support. And it looks like this one right here. So I'm gonna tie it, just like I did the trunk. All I'm doing is, again, just trying to protect the plant from the wire. This is just giving me a little cushion so the wire doesn't cut into the plant. We're I think today's the 20th, so it's been the weather's been pretty mild considering we had early snow on Halloween. Okay, I'm gonna take my wire. I'm just gonna wrap it 3 to 4 times around the branch. I'm gonna twist. Okay. Check the length of my wire. Okay. I'm going to feed it through the hole. Okay. What you want to do is you're going to pull this branch down as you're tightening the bottom. You don't want to snap it too. Fig branches are very flexible, but there is a breaking point. Okay. I think that's the best we can do. Let me check that again. I want to try something else. Okay, actually, I like it better here. So we're going to make the hole at a different spot. And these holes are so tiny. Usually that would have bothered me that I made a hole for nothing. But they're so small. So I don't know if you guys can see that. What's the best angle for this? Yeah, okay, let's do it like this so you can see. Okay. So I'm going to bend this branch down. Yeah, that's super tight. Okay, and then I'm just going to wrap. Okay. Cut off the extra. And there we go. Let me give you a close-up of that. Okay. You can see this branch was, again, growing like this. So we bent it. Garden tape to protect the trunk. Just wrapped it. Went down here. Made a hole. And let me try to get you a bird's eye view on why I wanted to bend it. See how we have a branch here, and a branch here now. So we're just trying to space it out, and I'm super happy with that looks. Okay. So now we got to cut it. Again, what I do is I always start with the top branch. The goal is 12. That's pretty much where the garden tape is. I'm going to take it above that. So if there's any dieback, I'm not stressing. So here I'm picking the 15th inch mark, which is right below a node. I'm going to cut down. Okay. I'm going to just go around the tree. So this one here, green growth, it's probably going to die. A lot of it's probably going to die back. This one we'll check the length. So we're probably just going to leave this. It came in at 20 inches. We really want to be at 12. Okay, we'll cut it. We'll cut it because we're going to try to encourage the side nodes to pop out. It's just I hate cutting it like this because I only have this much of a cutting to give away. But always tree form is more important than any cutting that you can ever take. So we'll do it the right way. Okay. And then we have this big branch back here. And then we'll check the dimension. 12 is here. 16 is here. I'm going to try to match this node over here on this side. Just in case. But I'm going to back up. Always back up and look at your plant. You guys can't probably see crap right now because of the sun. And I apologize. But it's really all about understanding my mentality. $16 would be here. Okay, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to commit to cutting the other side because we don't want to encourage this lateral node to keep growing up. We want it to start sending scaffolds out. Again, I'm just thinking about the cutting, which I shouldn't really do. So we'll just cut it. Okay. Anything like this, I just cut and chop into my pot. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's do this one now. $16. Okay, I'm okay with that. Just trying to visually see where I'm going to end up. Some of you guys are probably like, Homer, you're making this way more complicated than it needs to be. But this is probably my favorite part. I want my trees to look as best as they can. Actually, I'm going to go up. I'm going to balance it out on the left and right side. So this length is 20. Let's go 21 just to be safe, just for dieback. How did I do, guys? Let me move this. Let's take a look. I'm going to bring you up for a close-up. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah. So all we're going to try to do next season is we're going to hopefully notch out, or hopefully a bud comes out at this end, somewhere here, and then we'll have a really nice Violet de Bordeaux. All right, guys. I have a couple more to prune. I'll actually save a really complicated one for you guys for part 2 video. I just kind of feel bad that I'm getting the sun here. You probably aren't really seeing much, but I'm really happy with this wire technique. I've been watching a lot of bonsai videos, and they've been doing cool wiring stuff like this, and I think that looks great. I think it looks 10 times better, and it's gonna hopefully turn out the way we want to next season. But again, Homer from Basement Figs, Illinois Zone 5B. I apologize for the sun. I apologize for the editing, but I'm not going to do it. I don't got the time. So this video is going to be as raw as it gets. All right, guys. Peace. Love.